Good afternoon, and welcome to Cliff's office. My name is Clifford Murray, and I'm the founder of Empowerment for Tomorrow. And today's topic, learning assessment, is going to be the importance of image. Last week, I laid a foundational or inaugural video out explaining what this channel is for and who this channel is for. Cliff's office is simply an extension of Empowerment for Tomorrow. Several years ago, I founded a platform, Empowerment for Tomorrow, specifically targeting Black male youth between the ages of 14 through 19. Their fathers have to be present and or, if not available, a male stakeholder. Women are prohibited from participating in this particular platform. The platform is designed to help our young men and Black men overall put the proper assessment, which would lead to solution-based dynamics as far as living in this country of white supremacy, living in America, white-controlled white supremacy, and how things affect Black men specifically. It's my assessment that Black America will not be right until Black men are right. And I talked about the characteristics of the men that we need in the Black community: intelligent, articulate, high dominant, conscientious, top of the food chain mindset. We understand the importance of providing and protecting for our community. We understand the importance of Black men and women needing each other and understanding a better dynamic of communication as it pertains to our relationships with one another. We understand that we are the gatekeepers, if you will. We are the ones who are looking to lend our energy in the proper way to Black empowerment. Black men and women such as myself, I tend to define as the gatekeepers, or not so much the gatekeepers, so to speak, but the watchmen on the wall for the Black community, representing this Black consciousness community. However, you'll hear me use the words courageous, Black courageous, interchangeably with Black consciousness, because it's my assessment as well that 7 out of 10 Black people, unfortunately, in America, don't think critically about a damn thing in the first place. Black men and women such as myself represent the 3 out of the 10, unfortunately, who do. And Black empowerment and getting our situation together as a demographic in this country is not going to happen overnight, but God knows it shouldn't take another 450 or 60 plus years. This channel, designed specifically for Black men, and I talked about the beta male type of BUSSY type of characterization that we have in our community with men. This channel wouldn't be for you. This channel is for men who understand no nonsense. We will not tolerate a lot of things, zero tolerance on several issues that we don't need to waste our time with. And Cliff's office being an extension of Empowerment for Tomorrow, where my background as a curriculum developer, among other things, I believe can help lend itself to this so-called 2 cents that I talk about, trying to help my community, help my people. And this channel is all about moving in that direction, channeling through the importance of Black men planting the proper seeds in our young Black men in particular, the importance of that synergy of older men such as myself, communicating, reaching back, having dialogue, setting the example for younger men. So the generations behind me, behind us, can hopefully turn this thing around. And one of the things we're going to start off with, as we move through Cliff's office, the syllabus, if you will. The first topic, learning assessment, will be important for our young men, and particularly to understand how important and vital your image is. Exactly what are you representing? What are you portraying after you get up in the morning, wash your face, brush your teeth, walk out the door, and before you even open your mouth? The way you look alone is signaling who you are to the world. Is that something that would be indicative of a positive display of black men in this country? Or how you look alone, how you're carrying yourself, does that play right into the hands of white supremacy? So the first thing I want to do is define image. Now we know when a photographer takes a picture, he captures an image. We've probably heard a million times with the space program and its advanced technology. The Mars rover has landed and it will be sending back images. The image that I'm concerned about, another definition of image, is the general impression that a person, organization, or product represents to the public. And even within that, as I've outlined, the general impression that a person, you black men, me, you, what are we representing to the public? One of the reasons image has got to be important, and we have to take a premeditated look at it, because like it or not, in this country, as a black male, particularly black men like us, unapologetically black, high dominant, take no mess from nobody, very confident, we understand what we need to be doing, we're no nonsense, we don't mess around type of brothers. America has never liked us. And unfortunately, we have black men and women in this country who don't like us either. Now, with respect to this image, we have to understand that we as a black community, we control nothing, essentially. We're consumers in America. We're not defined as producers per se. Even our own black media, we don't even own our own voice, gentlemen. BET is controlled by Viacom, a white entity. The Steve Harvey morning show is part of a conglomerate that iHeartRadio, I believe, owns. This new, I guess about a year or so ago, BNC, the Black News Channel, I did research on them soon as they came out several months, if not maybe about a year ago now. They're part of our cable package. And as my manner is, let me see what's going on with the Black News Channel. And sure enough, I'm pretty sure their predominant investor is the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And when I dug deeper, looking at their mission statement and so forth, their contributors, one of the contributors is Larry Elder. So I knew right then when I saw him as one of the contributors to the Black News Channel. Doing some further research and reading, I discovered that the Black News Channel has a heavy contribution from the conservative political party. Now, I could care less about the Democratic or the Republican Party because neither one has ever done anything specifically for black people. It's only been God's grace that black America has thrived in some instances and continues to survive. But the United States government, even without having a black president, we've never benefited from the political machine. And the Congressional Black Caucus, they're about as ridiculously pathetic as it gets with moving anything for black America. But having said that, the Black News Channel has a marketing slogan of Truth Illuminated. But after I did the little research on them, I couldn't help but think, what truth or whose truth are you illuminating? So they're not even black owned, black run. My research also showed, from a business acumen standpoint, the CEO and the COO, CEO, Chief Executive Officer, and the COO, Chief Operating Officer, are white men. The chairman of the board, in my opinion, was the black guy from Oklahoma who's a Republican. He was involved in developing or creating this Black News Channel. But anyway, saying all of this to talk about making sure I'm on the right track here with image. It's important for us to have a great image, particularly as black men, that sends a signal and sends the right signal, considering we're up against a media, even in our own black, so-called black media, in print, in radio, and on television. Our so-called black media is not black owned. So black men who are of alpha male, alpha king mindset, who exude true masculinity, that strong, black, powerful man, that powerful black man, that's something America has always had a problem with and will never promote. So we as black men, at the very least, is what I like to say to some of our younger men in my live presentations of Empowerment for Tomorrow, smash the hell out of the stereotype that white America has tried to shove down its throat about black men. Your image says a lot about that. Now I've got a couple of things here that I want to show you. I'm going to deal with your outward appearance, particularly what I'm seeing with a lot of young men. And even some men near my age window. I'm 56 years old, but I've seen 40-year-old men, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. This pants hanging and sagging off your ass. I remember when it kind of started, it seemed to be an adolescent teenage thing, a rebellious thing. And then I started hearing things about what this type of look was steeped in. And on my journey of Empowerment for Tomorrow, someone gave me a postcard, and maybe you can see this, gave me a postcard, and think, fashion is an expression to show how you feel. In the early 80s at the correctional facility in Rikers Island in New York City, men who apparently were wearing their pants sagging like depicted here on this card were doing that as a way to signal sexual favors to other men. Be careful the fashion you choose. Let us all respect ourselves and our elders that paved the way for you to be respected. Be smart, think big. Now, the person who gave me this was a gentleman here in the Charlotte, out of the Charlotte office, who represents the 100 Black Men of Charlotte, which we know that's kind of a spinoff of what Minister Farrakhan did years ago at the Million Man March. But it blows my mind to think that this pants hanging off your ass, and it's been going on for a few decades now, and now it's up into 30-something, 40-something year old men. I'm out at the mall. I see what would appear to be husband and wife couple pushing a baby stroller, and the father, his pants are like this. The wife doesn't seem to care. Nobody seems to. What kind of image is that for us? What kind of image is that signaling? Is that a positive image that says we're certainly about Black empowerment? An outward appearance, your outward appearance speaks volumes about what's going on inside in your mind, the way you're dressed. And a lot of times I'm noticing we're not, and I'm going to get into this in a little bit, we're not even dressed for the proper occasion. I've also been out in situations on the job where a lot of our younger Black men, they're actually allowed to come in and work dressed like that postcard. Pants hanging off their ass. It's almost as if the management or human resources are saying, my goodness, if I say something to them, is that a violation of, and I know enough about legal parameters. Any company has its right to promote the image and dress codes that they want to have and promote for their company. And like in most cases, most Black men and women, we do not own our own companies. We primarily work for white-owned companies. Let's just tell it like it is. And we're coming to work looking like that. We're out in the street, walking around looking like that, showing our underwear. Not the right image. Not the right image at all. And again, we've got enough of a battle dealing with what white America primarily promotes with Black men across the board. I was looking at an article the other day where The Insider, which is, I think, a news publication online or maybe even in print, but they were talking about the most powerful Black women in business. I'm paraphrasing. I think it was the most powerful Black women in financial management, that area of corporate America. And they had the article had a picture of, I guess, 8 or so of the most powerful Black women. Now, those of us who critically think, when you see these things like this, I don't know if I can ever recall those words being put together for Black men. I have a subscription to the Crisis magazine. I have a subscription to Essence magazine. Ebony magazine no longer exists per se, even though it's my understanding several months ago a retired NBA basketball player bought them and bailed them out, but I haven't seen any traction as to where Ebony magazine is coming back into the fold. I also have a subscription to Black Enterprise magazine. May he rest in peace, the Earl Graves Sr. His son, Earl Graves Jr., I believe, is at the helm of the magazine now. But they had a portfolio, Black Enterprise magazine, excuse me. I used to watch them on a PBS channel, I think, on public television some years ago. Part of their portfolio was women in power. And they would showcase Black women in power in corporate structure, corporate America. And it wasn't no problem for them to put Black women, the word power, powerful Black women. And I used to think to myself, even then, I can't recall anything where the most powerful Black man in America. If that did exist somewhere, it's few and far between, because that's just not something America is going to promote. And you would think Black Enterprise magazine and some of these so-called Black Afrocentric publications would use that. It's as if they are even afraid to, don't put Black powerful men, don't put those words in the same sentence anywhere. We can't possibly promote that. And this may be a hard pill to swallow, but this is the country we live in. We've even had a Black president, President Obama. I'm not sure if you can get any more higher up the status ladder than being head of state, particularly head of state of what's considered one of the most powerful countries on the face of the earth. And a Black man actually had that position, not just one term, but 2 terms, 8 years. 8 years. I voted for him twice myself. And I've already made my statements about what President Obama did and or didn't do specifically for Black America. But I'm talking about Black men in image on today's topic learning assessment. If I'm not mistaken, seems like I heard the word impotent from political bobbleheads describing his administration. Every chance it seemed like white America got to say something to knock a brother down psychologically or what have you, they took every opportunity. And this is the President of the United States, head of state. And even at his level, he had to stay in his lane. There is nothing in this country that promotes anything positive about Black men. I mentioned in my last week's video about BET and how they are aiders and abettors of the ratchetness of our community, and actually having the gall to market it as Black excellence. And they promote the effeminization of Black men everywhere. So what have I been talking about the last several minutes now? How important image is set against the backdrop of what America is always rolling out to continue to promote a negative image. It has its roots, underpinnings, beginnings all the way back in slavery. Everybody knows the importance of a man and what our Creator put into a man and how he is to be that protector and provider and leader and disciplinarian and example setter. But we can't have black men doing that. That's only reserved for white men. Fast forward all the way to present day. We've even got our black women talking about how they're running everything and taking over and going to do this and do that. We don't even have any strong positive images of real black first, about black, be black, black men. And the ones we do, I think about Minister Farrakhan being an example of an unapologetically black man. And some of the things when he's been on TV from time to time and his overall, who do you think you're talking to? I'm not taking that crap. And he shut a couple of news anchors, news journalists down, stopped them right in their tracks. But that's rare. We can't have black men like him everywhere, all over the national landscape. So your image, particularly you young black men, pants hanging off your ass, not knowing how to dress appropriately in the right situations. And some of you are probably going to say, well, you're just talking about that now because you're 56 years old. I've been essentially dressing the way I dress since I was 14, 15 years old, in the era I grew up in. Not really sure what happened. Hip hop may have had a lot to do with this, I don't know, leisure dress code type of thing where it's okay to dress like that everywhere. I grew up in an era where we had church clothes, school clothes, and play clothes. And they meant just that. These clothes I wear to church. I don't wear them to school and I don't wear them to play. When I come back from school and we want to go outside and play, we take those school clothes off and we put on our play clothes. I won't even talk, well, I will talk about it, I guess, to some degree. I'll have to. This is about image. And right now I'm talking about the component of how you look and dress. Story after story during this time of year, high school graduation, and it seems like every story I see on my timeline is a black boy who doesn't have a suit, a tie, or a shirt, or a pair of hard bottom shoes. It's like we don't even know what that is anymore. You can't wear tennis shoes and sneakers every damn where. A lot of that may be coupled with the fact that we don't have a lot of men in the home, and even that single black mother, a lot of them are dating somebody. Somebody's having a relationship with mama in a lot of cases, and yet somehow, even in those situations, there's not the man she's seen. She doesn't have a brother, which would be his uncle, or, I mean, some of these stories where, my goodness, when I'm looking at some of these stories on the news, I'm thinking, there's no black man nowhere around in that woman's life that she could pull into the young man's life. I don't know. Leave your comment in the comment section if you think I'm crazy or if you think I'm making a good point. Fine. I don't know. When I look at these stories on the news, my mind goes in that direction. There's nobody in the young man's life And then you hear of a hero who comes through somewhere along the way. And I've seen some young white men who, the world may define them as low income, trailer trash sometimes. White America generally has a name that they've defined for every demographic. And even within their own demographic, every demographic has their undesirables, so to speak, if you want to look at it that way. And yet, I don't see a whole lot of stories when these stories come up of a 16, 17-year-old white boy who didn't have a suit or didn't know he needed to put on a pair of hard bottom shoes to go to the prom, to take the girl to the prom or to graduate. At the graduation ceremony, there's a dress code. Here we go again. When I think about some of the young men on these jobs that I've been on, they come on these jobs as if there can't be a dress code here. I come looking any kind of way, not groomed properly, hair looking any kind of way, pants hanging off your ass. That plays right into the hands of white supremacy, gentlemen. That plays right into the hands of white supremacy. Years ago, I took a stab at being an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur now, quite frankly. I get into that later on as we move through Cliff's office. But me and some other guys decided that we try to start and go into a wardrobe consulting business. Made to measure, bespoke, knowing how to measure, taking orders and so forth, fitting you for a shirt, a suit, making sure you understand this ensemble would be great at the occasion you're going to. Everything from knowing how to dress formally with the tuxedo all the way down to casual wear, whatever the occasion or venue required. So I'm somewhat well versed in that. Read some books and different things and study. I've somewhat had a penchant for liking to look well and be my best. Again, the way you dress outwardly is an expression of what's going on inwardly. And you're sending a signal by the way you're dressed, believe it or not, gentlemen. And one of my colleagues, one of the guys who recruited me and these other guys to take on this venture into wardrobe consulting and so forth, fashion house, he used to say all the time, and all of us were black men, he used to say all the time that how do you expect to be taken seriously when you look like a clown? I've seen some professional athletes. I don't know his name. I'm out of the Charlotte area, so we have the Carolina Panthers. And one of the local newscasters was talking to one of the players. I think he plays on defense. And if I'm not mistaken, he was wearing some type of loud color shirt. I think he had his hair dyed a funky, loud, bright color, medium to dark skinned brother. Now, of course, if he's playing in the NFL, he's making a lot of money. But if you didn't know that, and that wouldn't matter anyway, in my opinion, I'm looking at him going, if I had a group of young men in front of me, and I would ask them, particularly that 14 to 19 foundational base, does that black man look like he should be taken seriously? And I'll probably leave your comments in the comment section if you want to. He just signed a $10 million contract. He just signed, blah, blah, blah. Look at him. Is he dressed? Does he look like he should be taken seriously. And in my opinion, this particular, I wish I could pull him up. He looked like he would be dressed for something out of Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey Circus. Some of the things these guys wear in the hip hop fashion arena. And you can leave your comments in the comment section. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I'm looking at some of these things in this fashion show on YouTube several years ago. Of course, they got the sisters in the bikinis and the tattoos, and they're walking down the runway. Then they have the men, the young men come down, modeling the hip hop flavor and stuff. And they were modeling with the pants hanging off their ass and sneakers. Nobody had on a pair of hard bottom shoes. Everything that they were doing, their ensembles were perfect for everything. No matter where they were going, out to dinner or going to a ball game. I'm looking at some of the stuff they're wearing, gentlemen, and I'm thinking to myself, I put that on when I get ready to cut the grass. Well, it's summertime, springtime. I guess I better go down here and clean out the garage. Let me see, what am I going to put? The stuff they're modeling in this fashion show, I put that shit on when I'm going to wash the car. I've been out at Neiman Marcus looking at a pair of loafers. And while I was out there, and this was several years ago, I noticed 4 or 5 black guys, young men, come in. They looked like they were 19, 20, maybe 18. There weren't any older men with them. They looked like they were with their mother, grandmother, aunt, something like that. And I have sneakers too. But sneakers don't comprise my entire wardrobe. I've seen some local news media and national news media profile some of these athletes, excuse me, black athletes, and they run the camera and they take you through their mansion and they take you through their bedroom and gigantic walk-in closet. And as far as the eye can see are sneakers. He doesn't pull up a pair of hard bottom shoes or anything. So anyway, I'm out here at Neiman Marcus and I'm looking at a pair of Ferragamos. I might be looking at some Magnanis or something like that. Just some nice dress shoes. And I'm noticing the sneakers, the Gucci sneakers, and I think Ferragamo, they make sneakers and stuff. These sneakers are $600-700, $400 or $600. And as I'm standing there talking to one of the managers, let's say, at the Neiman Marcus, a brother, he was like, yo, sometimes they call me Red. He said, yo, Red, watch this. I'm like, what? So you see that group over there? I guarantee you, they're not even going to know. Look at the shoes they're looking at. Now, that's their right and prerogative, but what the manager was basically telling me what he sees all the time since he works in this environment. He even said it. The white men, the young white men in that age window, they come in here, they might get a sneaker, they might look at, but they're in here with their fathers a lot of times, looking at a nice pair of dress shoes or casual loafer. And again, I'm not here to berate black men, young black men, but the older I get, and seemingly with every passing generation, and looking at these articles and what I see with my own eyes every time I'm out and about, you don't have a blazer, you don't have a nice dress shirt with a collar. Even 25, 30, 35-year-old, you're taking a young lady out to dinner at Capitol Grill and you're wearing that. Interesting. I've also run into a couple of men who, getting back to the image that white America promotes versus the image that we should be promoting. And we don't have a machine behind us like they do. So again, gentlemen, it's going to be very important that we take care of business with our image. Now, when I was in the Navy back in the 80s and 90s, we had what we call the GQ magazine equivalent for the brothers. Now, I'm still running into some black guys who have never heard of Ebony Man. Now, this is Ahmad Rashad back in the day on Ebony Man. And I would ask you young guys, the ensemble that he's wearing, this is an ensemble that will still look good today. Classic style never goes out. But anyway, Ebony Man was a magazine that was marketed and geared toward black men, again, like a GQ for black men. The magazine also had articles in there that I remember reading about how to handle yourself at an interview, things to look for when you're looking for a job, some substantive matters, if you will, some things that were not inconsequential, but things that meant something, things that would matter for a black man. And Ebony Man was telling you, look the part, dress the part. Now, he's in a suit and tie, but if you had that magazine, the magazine talked about athletic wear at the proper venue. There were some brothers in there with shorts and tennis shoes on in the right realm of what they were doing. Tuxedos, suits, casual wear. It was a great magazine. The magazine didn't last, I don't think, but maybe 6 or 7 years because they couldn't hold down a revenue stream from advertisers. And I have a subscription to Essence magazine, a magazine for black women. Essence magazine does 3 things for black women, in my opinion. And I'm a man who has a subscription to the magazine. They empower, inspire, and give instruction, if you will, in social righteousness for black women to know how to handle things. Girl, the 7 things you need to have in play before you put your 2 weeks notice in. I wonder how many black men have any damn idea of some things they need to have in place before they put their 2 weeks notice in on the job. Essence magazine is always communicating things to black women in social environments on what they need to do and not do. Of course, the magazine is always telling them about how they need to conduct themselves and what they need to do and not do around black men, as well as there's always stories where black women are empowered to do things. And they've always got a story in every magazine by some black woman who's escaped tyranny from some crazy regime overseas, came to America and found her way, or some black woman who was bees in the trap, got her way out of it, got an education. They are always inspiring black women, empowering black women, and giving black women social, what I'm going to refer to as, using a biblical anecdote, social instruction in righteousness. Girl, it's summertime. You wear this type of dress and that color. You need to have your hair done this way. The black women always know what to do and how to deal and where they need to go as far as their outward appearance. Yeah, now we know we have some ratchet black women too. But the point I'm making is right now, they have a magazine. It's almost no excuse for a young black woman not to know how to handle some things, even if she didn't have a mother or an older sister. If she can get to a newsstand and pick up an Essence magazine, she's good to go. Black men have nothing like that to even look to. If their father isn't telling them, and we certainly have enough examples where a single mother just can't raise a teenage man. There are no outside sources on the newsstand that a young black teenage boy or a young black man can even go to on a how to do anything like this magazine used to be about. Image. There's nothing promoting anything positive for black men at all. And it's a damn shame that the image we have to deal with, or lack thereof of a positive image, even comes from our own so-called black media. Now, this is back in May 2013, beautiful Jill Scott and her son on the cover. This was one of those magazines that continued to inspire me on my journey on empowerment for tomorrow with regard to saving our sons. Now look at the cover of this Ebony magazine and the big words that grab your attention. Here's a black woman with her arms wrapped around her son. Out of all of the black men in America, you couldn't find one black father to wrap his arms around his son because he understands the plight in which his son is going to have to go through dealing and living in this country. Ebony magazine couldn't find one black man in a series, which I believe was part of a 4-part series on saving our sons. That image speaks volumes, certainly spoke volumes to me. As soon as I saw the magazine, I was in Walmart, I think, when I bought it. And in one microsecond, saving our sons, a black woman with her hands wrapped around her son. Ebony magazine saying, black men, your black ass can't save our sons. What the hell can you do, black man? And that's not the only time I've seen it. There was an author of a book, Marita Golden, Saving Our Sons, Raising Black Children in a Turbulent World. Here we go again. This was back in 1995, where she wrote a book, Saving Our Sons, Raising Black Children in a Turbulent World. Marita Golden. We don't even have a positive image coming from our own so-called black media. I told you about, I've also got a subscription to GQ magazine. Now this is Jonathan Majors. He's an up-and-coming actor, pretty good. I've seen him in a few things. But this is him on the cover of GQ magazine back in late 2020, October, I believe. This is the ensemble that he's wearing, that they've got him on the cover, versus what I've showed you with Ebony Man. In a recent, I'm not going to pull out all of these, in a recent GQ magazine that I have, ASAP Rocky, I believe he dates Rihanna. Some of the pictures on him, he's in some ensembles in headdress that take a feminization to a whole nother level, if you ask me. Never see any white men on GQ magazine, really, or in these other magazine promotions and so forth, TV, you name it. You don't see an effeminization drumbeat to them like you do with us. And this is important for our young men to understand. As we move through Cliff's office, I'm going to be breaking a lot of things down in great detail throughout a variety of topic learning assessments. Some would say, moving forward, the topic learning assessments that we're going to be dealing with, they're certainly more serious than image. But I would say to you, gentlemen, don't ever take your image lightly. You should never take your image lightly, what you're projecting to the world. Here we go again. Black Enterprise Magazine. What year was this? This was back in 2017, not too long ago. The most powerful women in business. Black women. I doubt very seriously you'll ever see the most powerful black men. You're not going to see the word powerful black men put on any damn thing in America, probably. If it has happened, drop me a line and in the comment section, put a link to it and show me. If it is, it's probably few and far between. So with all of that, gentlemen, your image should be taken seriously. We cannot mess around and fool around with how we look. Another aspect of your image would have to be how well you communicate. Now, we've defined image from a standpoint of what you're wearing and what that signifies to the rest of the world. I've even gotten into the last several minutes now of how white America, the white supremacist machine, is always out to make sure your image of looking like a boy, being effeminized, and portraying where you should not be taken seriously, that's all over the place. Showed you some examples from even our own media and what the signals that they are sending about how they think about black men. You can't save anything. Another aspect of your image is how you communicate in your speech, in your diction, how you come across in articulation. If that's not where it should be, you want to up your ante and up your game on that. We need that. We need black men to set the example and lead, not only in the way our outward appearance, the clothes we're wearing, the hairstyles we are wearing, are we neatly groomed? Are we taking care of ourselves physically to the point to where everything suggests, yeah, This black man is about handling business because I can look at the way he's dressed, the way he carries himself. And then when he does open his mouth, pardon the pun, his speech and his speaking is speaking volumes about what his mindset is, how you're communicating and articulating to get your point across, and how you're responding back to someone else. Now, as young men, we certainly seem to want to put a lot of emphasis on understanding how well we need to communicate when we're trying to talk smooth and suave to the ladies. We don't seem to have a problem of, let me make sure my verbal game is tight. When I'm talking to the female, doesn't seem to be a problem with that. You need to make sure your verbal game is tight when you're talking to anyone. I'm not going to deal with it in this topic learning assessment, but later on down the road, I will also be talking about helping our young men on how they need to handle themselves and conduct themselves in an interview. Yeah, I'll definitely be promoting owning our own business and a various slew of other things, but it's okay to work for someone else now, and then you're trying to do some other things later. And there's nothing wrong with working for someone else per se. The Most High invented all of this. But certainly, we're going to have more of a proportionate ratio in our community of owning more businesses and doing more things. We seem to have a mindset of understanding a hybrid. I'm a hybrid. I'm a contractor out to certain things, and I'm endeavoring to do other things on the entrepreneurial side as we speak. But particularly you young man, planting these seeds in the young man. When you're starting out in life, there are going to be some things you need to understand and do. And when you are out looking for work, how you conduct yourself, how you communicate, how you're dressed, because you've researched the company and you understand the proper dress code that they expect you to be adhering to. So all of these things are important. So now, how you communicate, how you articulating. You don't ever have a problem with getting your verbal game tight. You stay up at night practicing, thinking through things on how you're going to step to her. You need to have that same mindset if your verbal game isn't tight overall on how you communicate, how you enunciate, your diction, your voice inflection, particularly in this white supremacist controlled world that you and I live in. That world where we don't generally run or control anything. That's right. So what kind of signal or message do you want to come across as a black man? One that plays into the hands of white supremacy, or one that promotes a strong black man even before you even open your mouth? And when you do open your mouth, your verbal game is tight. Your ability to articulate your points and answer questions and move the needle in the way you want things to go, letting the person you're communicating to who you are, what you stand for, and why. Whether that's a white man, a black man, an older woman, younger, whatever. Despite your ability to keep your game tight, the way you look, the way you carry yourself, your countenance, how you communicate, how you articulate, the reason why it's so important for us to be able to do that as black men, not only are we sitting in the signal to white America in that component of white supremacy, which is generally run by that particular sector of white men in society. It's important to do this to send the proper and right signals to our very own black community. You can say what you want to say, but a black man and a black woman, when they're talking to a black man who projects what this channel is about, they're either going to love you or hate you. The wheat will be separated from the chaff real quick. Because the way you're dressed, you mean business. There's nothing about the way you're dressed in this particular occasion suggest you're not to be taken lightly. That you have your game together. And when you open your mouth, it all lines up. Because white America will continue to own and dominate and, quite frankly, control so much of the stereotype. How much can we do about it? I don't know. Leave a comment in the comment section. And you would think our black media, we would have enough from our black media to offset. See, these are the things that happen when you're at war. So much of war is steeped in the propaganda, the signals that are being sent even before bullets and bombs are being fired. A propaganda campaign, an image campaign, starts long before bullets are even shot. Some of us don't even realize that we are really at war. And no, we're not shooting back and forth like in the Civil War, like in World War I or World War II per se. But essentially, we've been at war since Plymouth Rock landed on us, so to speak, for 400 and something years. Because white supremacy, from chattel slavery through Reconstruction, through emancipation, through Jim Crow, you name it, Black America continues to be America's permanent underclass. So they will always continue to do whatever as long as they possibly can to manipulate and control the narrative. And it's a damn shame that we don't have enough courageous black media outlets, because they're all controlled, quite frankly, by all of the white conglomerate power structure, distribution. All of that is still controlled by them, even if black people are trying to do something within that. And it's amazing to me how You can have black men who are millionaires, some probably even billionaires. And a Jewish man can pick up the phone and say to a black millionaire or possibly black billionaire, look here, you made some disparaging remarks that we found unfavorable. They were anti-Semitic and so forth. Look here, Negro. If you do that again, there are going to be some serious consequences. And you know what generally that black millionaire, possibly billionaire is going to do? He's going to say, yes, sir, massa. Let me show you this from GQ magazine back in the day, just to drive home the point. I tell you, GQ magazine. Everybody's probably familiar with the Star Wars franchise. And this is Amy Schumer, stand-up comedian. And I believe her uncle is Senator Schumer, who you see with Nancy Pelosi on Capitol Hill, always doing stuff with the Democratic Party. But this would be his niece. And here, how to make a yell like Chewbacca. Now, the thing about this is she's got the grill and the tattoo, teardrops on her face. Who do you think Chewbacca is representing here? With the, I don't know if they're gang signs, hip hop, whatever. GQ magazine. Think 2015. Once again, sending a signal, sending a narrative on what black men really are. And if you've ever watched the Star Wars saga, you know Chewbacca looks like an ape. And that's what's being conveyed with that situation there. I remember years ago, I don't know if it was LeBron James' rookie season in the NBA, or he hadn't been in the NBA that long. I may be wrong. Some of you guys can drop a comment in the comment section if I'm off about it. But I remember early in his career, he was, I think, on the cover of GQ magazine or in a GQ magazine where he's pawning a basketball in one hand with a animated growl look and holding a white actress or model or something in his other hand, channeling King Kong. Always a deal with image. So when I get up in the morning and wash my face, brush my teeth, take a shower, get myself together, when I walk out the door, my image is intact. When I open my mouth, my image is intact. And sometimes I guess it comes across as, this brother doesn't fit the stereotype. And it's a damn shame that you sometimes will get, and young men, listen up. I trust some of the fathers who have sons in this age window foundationally for what Empowerment for Tomorrow is about. This is very important for you to understand, even at the ripe old age of 14. The world is looking at you and making judgments about you before you even open your mouth. How you're dressed for the particular occasion speaks volumes toward that. And God knows when you open your mouth and what comes out and how it comes out and how it's articulated on the particular subject matter lends itself to another level of image. The importance of image. It's very important. Next week, we're going to be dealing with some things that have come up that seem to be making some noise. I think it's important for at least our young black men to know, and we'll give an assessment on it. But next week, this critical race theory. We live in a world of acronyms. A lot of times you'll see it as CRT, critical race theory. Going to quickly look at it, size it up, put an assessment on it, and again, what black men need to be thinking about in dealing with this critical race theory and how we are going to file it. But moreover, next week, we're going to be dealing with three things that I believe, well, these are the three things that Empowerment for Tomorrow hangs its hat on. And we will be looking at those three things. I believe with everything that's in me, if these three things are incorporated, my love for my people, if I could get every 14 and 19-year-old black male in front of me and have him look at and assess these three things for him to incorporate into his mind, into his psyche, into his actions, I could argue it probably go a long way in having a new day in Black America. We're going to deal with those particular three things next week, as well as assessing critical race theory and all of the hubbub about it and how much of it do we need to process and deal with. We'll look at it. Until next week, I love you guys more than you know. You beta male, bussy, you know what you can do. The channel is not for you anyway, so stay the hell out. And I trust today's lesson on topic learning assessment on the importance of image has made sense to some people, that you understand, particularly our young men, how you have to conduct yourself, how you have to present yourself, and what that means, your outwardly expression, what that means with respect to your inner mindset. We've got to have that moving forward, particularly with you young men, to lend itself to Black empowerment and get this thing turned around. Love you. Until next week, peace.